I'd like to know your point of view.
Hi everyone, welcome to Evening TV. I'm Evening Ransom. And today I wanted to talk to you about what's going on with Britney Spears. From what I understand, this kind of conservatorship that she's in is one that is intended for people that are not going to get better. It's intended for people who are elderly or mentally disabled, and they're not earning a living. For one thing, they're not the ones out earning the money, and they're not expected to get better. They need someone to protect them. Well, what is so crazy to me is that if this woman is in good enough shape, she's mentally well enough to go out and earn a living for all of these people. She's supporting all of these people, but she can't have control over her own money. That's insane. She was able to address the judge in a very lucid way, in a very intelligent, articulate way, and there is no way that you could listen to that person and say she's totally incompetent. There's no way. And there's no way that someone who's totally incompetent could be making as much money as she is, doing tours and all this stuff. The story that she was telling was just unbelievable, except for that it's not unbelievable for someone who's actually been there in a much smaller scale. But I know what it's like to have a father come in and try to put a conservatorship on you. I know what it's like to have the court system not listening to you and against you, and where power is being taken out of your hands, and you're being cheated and you're being stolen from. When this thing started, she was going through a rough time. I'm not sure that anyone looking after her money was necessarily what they needed to focus on, but she was going through a rough time. She definitely needed some support of some kind. They weren't supporting her. It was just everything was going on, trying to just drive her over the edge. When a person is starting to go through something rough, because I think her relationship was breaking up, she was losing custody of her kids, she was going through a lot of stuff. Who knows how she was maybe being antagonized by her parents, her manager. She's been performing since she was a little kid. And probably, I'm sure, norms got put into place at that time that carried over. My guess is that she's been supporting everyone since she was a child, and it's sort of like trafficking. It's sort of, she even said it's like trafficking. I feel like I'm being trafficked. The other thing about it that was outrageous was that it's not even just about money. She can't do things like get her IUD taken out or plan to have a baby. She can't even make those kinds of decisions, which are absolutely so personal. And a woman should have control over her own body. This is outrageous. And I don't know why she would have to be naked in front of people. I don't know why she should have people in her home without wanting them there. I mean, this is an almost 40-year-old woman who has made more money than most everyone, and certainly everyone that she is that's on her payroll. And the fact that she has to she's paying this lawyer. It's not even her own lawyer. She doesn't choose her own lawyer. She has a lawyer that she doesn't trust, who's supposedly protecting her for $500,000 a year that she's paying. And she's paying her dad, and she's paying all these different people. When she's got 6 nurses in her house for the day that won't let her go anywhere, she's paying them. I mean, this is the thing that's so outrageous. And you think, how can this happen? This can't happen. And normal people who haven't had any exposure to people who, don't love their children, people who act in self-interest, people who haven't been maybe involved in these corrupt court systems that are so money-driven. I mean, we've talked about it here on this channel, not in this context, but we've talked about it in the context of narcissistic divorce and how money-driven these court systems are, because it's a for-profit industry, court in America. It's a for-profit industry, and a very lucrative one. And so everyone is making a bunch of money off of Britney Spears' conservatorship, and so none of these people are going to want it to end, including the judge. Now, even down to the point, I think this kind of weakened her argument when she said, I want to get out of it without any testing. I understand what she's saying, because she doesn't trust any people doing the tests, and she's been involved with this for 13 years, and they're constantly testing her. She's been tested all the time. I understand why she doesn't want to go through any tests. She doesn't want to have to wait for another test to come in, because every time they come in, they're, against her, and she doesn't trust any. I would say she probably wants to pick her own people. She's going to do She wants it completely, not somebody on her payroll that's going to be administering the test. For her to get any kind of fairness, she's going to have to get away from all these people that are being paid by her. What should have happened back when she was falling apart and going through her nervous breakdown is that, okay, maybe someone would step in, that she would give a little power of attorney or something for a temporary time. And in a few months when things settled down, she could go back to the way that it was. And I'm sure that she probably already had in place a power of attorney anyway. This was probably unnecessary. And the thing that's really sick about it is that her relationship with her dad was never very good, it doesn't sound like. It sounds like he was an alcoholic, he was not real involved with her early on, and so only does he come on and get involved now when it's about money, and that just doesn't sound right. And it sounds like he's a pretty abusive person. I mean, even before this, just things that I've heard, about he got in an altercation with her son, different things like that. But when I was listening to this story for Britney, it just struck so many chords with me. I understand. I'm not going to say I understand it on her scale, but I understand how this can happen. And a lot of people don't, because most people think, oh, fathers love their kids. He's just looking out for her, or judges. Judges are always fair, and judges pay attention to the law, and everything is, they're not going to be paid off. These judges in America, in the United States, are very driven by money and driven by profits, and the longer they can keep this kind of thing going on, it's been going on for 13 years. A lot of people have made a lot of money off of Britney Spears in the last 13 years. And what other test can there be for competence other than the fact that these people they're not even earning a living for themselves. She's earning a living not only for herself, but for all of these other people that she doesn't even want to have around. And it doesn't sound like she has anyone. And this is another thing that really, really struck a chord with me, because you get people isolated. It doesn't sound like she has anyone on her side. Anyone. She can hope that this boyfriend of hers is on her side, but there's no proof of that. But she doesn't have a loyal, she can't count on her mother. She can't count on her brother or her sister. She can't count on her manager. She can't count on anybody. She's had bad people around her all the time. And this is what happens when you have a narcissistic family, because you're not protected. So a couple things happen. You're not protected, and people see that. People see that you're vulnerable. They see that no one's looking out for you. And so, vultures and exploiters come in. And not only that, but your own family will be doing it. Not only that, but you don't learn to protect yourself. This seems normal to you, so you're very vulnerable to letting abusers in, letting people who will use you and giving too much. And she probably learned early on to do things to be people pleasing and always have to be, kind and saying yes. I'm sure she has a hard time saying no. It's not surprising to me that it took her a long time. You can see how controlled her world is. Even if they are worried about her making a mistake. Maybe her having another baby would just be a total disaster for her career. Maybe if she had all the money in the world, she would give some to her boyfriend, or she would, blow it on whatever. But that's her right. It's her money. She's a grown woman. If she wants to blow her money or, bury her career, it's her prerogative to do it. These people they're not trying to protect her, they're trying to keep their workhorse working. They're trying to keep their workhorse working. She gets $2,000 a week for an allowance. That's it. And that will be nothing compared to what everybody else is taking. There was something like she was out to dinner with someone, and it came to a big bill. It was like $1,300, and she couldn't cover it. And that just seems so weird that this pop star who's making hundreds of millions of dollars and is supporting this whole, host of people can't buy all of her friends a nice dinner. That just seems very strange. Just a total violation. She's been so abused by her parents. She's been so betrayed by her family. She's been betrayed by everyone that she's worked with professionally. She's just had a lot of betrayal. She hasn't always handled herself perfectly. I get that. So familiar. I knew exactly what was happening because it had happened to me, granted on a much smaller scale. And this for me was about 2003, so it was about 5 years earlier. And And it was also the same kind of thing. My husband was leaving me. He was threatening to take my kids, and I started falling apart, not behaving super well, getting myself in trouble, making myself look bad, and doing all these terrible things behind, what that other people couldn't see. Along with my parents were taking his side, and all this was happening, but no one was seeing that. And so what people were seeing was me making it more of a public spectacle, just like in Britney's case. Only in her case, the paparazzi was all waiting right there to get pictures of it. Let's just say that was 2008. Now she's got a contract in Vegas. She's been touring, and she's been making a lot of money. In the last 13 years, she has made a lot of money. It isn't like she's just sat around kicking her feet up. She's been working and making a lot of money that she doesn't get to keep. That not only does she have to have all these people around, but she has to pay them. It doesn't seem like it should even be legal. If someone had really been looking out for her, it wouldn't have just mushroomed into all these takers around. There's just a ton of neglect and abuse going on here, and power and control plays, and I don't know, it just feels really awful. Have you had any kind of experiences with this kind of thing, with being basically bullied, where you don't have anyone on your side, and even the courts and all that gets involved with it, and you're just powerless? I didn't have a bunch of money to go be paying everyone, but I did lose every single penny. I lost all my assets because my husband and my parents and all the lawyers, everybody was just against me. And laundering money and doing all these crazy things, forging my name on things, and lots of crazy things were happening that were totally illegal and wrong. And I'm just sure that there is just a whole bunch of stuff. Whatever we're going to hear is still going to be the tip of the iceberg. It's still going to be the tip of the iceberg. Even if there are bad things about Britney in her medical records or whatever, I wouldn't even trust those. You get into traumatizing situations, and you're scared, and you're all these things, and you feel like everyone's ganging up on you. You don't know where to turn. You're going to act a little different. You're not going to act completely calm. You might be acting a little bit. They're calling her bipolar and different things like that. And she doesn't have a say-so over what medication she takes. I mean, it's like if she doesn't take her medication, or she doesn't do a certain dance move, then she said not to be in compliance. She said if she argues with it, then she's also not in compliance with that. And that goes against the rules, and those are marks against her getting out of the conservatorship. She is just in completely a catch-22. It's a corrupt system. I don't know how it could be at all trusted when they're taking control of this cash cow's money, and why would they ever want to give it up? This is clearly not a healthy relationship. The father is certainly, in my perspective, abusive, and the mother she's not doing anything to help, that's for sure. And in the way that Britney said it, I think she said she wanted both of her parents to go to jail. These relationships were not solid to begin with. They were not solid to begin with. I'm sure that back when she was falling apart, everyone panicked, because even then they were probably making money off of her. So even when she was doing damage to her image, and she was gaining weight, or she was shaving her hair off or whatever, they were all probably panicking then. And so this is a way of making sure that she doesn't do that. She looks great. She looks really good. She definitely looks like she's doing really well, and has gotten over what she was going through. Because she hit a hard patch doesn't mean that was forever on. She was going to be that way forever. She went through a brief breakdown during a very stressful time, and that all of these people only made worse. I really feel for Britney. I think that our system is wrong. I think that there should be no way that a young woman, she's 39 now, so she was only 26 when this thing got put into place, right in her prime earning years. I mean, come on. All those people, I think they should go to jail. I think that, they probably won't, because I'm sure that loopholes and everything, that it is legal, and they've got to judge everybody involved with it. Is that you can listen to all the commentators, all the people talking about it, that this was healthy, well-meaning people involved. That her parents are like regular parents that love their kid and are looking out for their best interest, that all these people had good intentions, and it doesn't seem to me that they did. What you're going to do, if that's what you think, is you're going to think, oh, there's probably a lot of her medical records that we don't know about, and there's probably a lot of things that go on that we don't know about, and she, this had to be fair, and it's gone on for 13 years, so there has to be a lot of good reasons for that. That's what you would be led to think. They don't think that things are as corrupt, or that people are as corrupt as they are. I don't know how she stayed motivated. I don't know why didn't she just decide to kick up her feet and eat bonbons, That's what I can't figure out. But I think that she's in contracts that she actually has to work. Her manager said something like, if you don't do this tour, you're going to get sued. So it's crazy. It's crazy that she has to keep working to pay all these people that she doesn't want. Pay all these people to keep her working and take all of her money. It's an incredible system that just seems like such horrendous abuse, and it's layered. There's so many layers in it that they've got courts involved and all this stuff. And then her dad was, I feel so bad that my poor daughter is so upset. He's playing that angle, and those of us who have narcissistic parents or we've been through narcissistic abuse, we know exactly how that works. My ex-husband did the same thing. He'd go around everybody, I'm just so worried about her. I'm just so worried about her, Meantime, he's, stealing from me, forging my name, breaking the law. We know how it works, and all of this looks just so familiar. It looks so familiar, only just on this blown up scale. And when it blows up to a bigger scale, people just get more corrupt. I do worry about her with this boyfriend, but again, she's a grown woman who has the prerogative to make mistakes. I just think that her ability to choose a good person or good people around her, how can she get good people around her? She's never had a good person around her. It doesn't sound like she's ever had a true friend or a true partner in life that was really cared about her best interests. I think that she came off as very lucid. She seems perfectly competent, and she should not be in something that was intended for people that were not earning money and that were incompetent and that were never going to get better. Whoever set it up that way did not have her best interest at heart from the very beginning. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Put it down in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
A place that's real.